All right, let's dive into a fundamental truth about investing, one that honestly goes against every single one of our instincts. It's this idea that real success, it starts the very moment you finally accept that you're not actually in the driver's seat. I love this quote because it hits the nail on the head. I mean, think about it for a second. We spend so much time researching, analyzing, building these crazy detailed spreadsheets. We weigh every single decision, right? All because we're chasing certainty. And then, what do? We hit the buy button. And bam, in that one single instant, we just let go. The money's gone from our account, and along with it, any shred of control we thought we had. It's a really unsettling feeling, isn't it? You've got this deep-seated need to control your own destiny, and then you have this massive, impersonal market that, frankly, couldn't care less about your perfect plans. So that's the real question, right? How are we supposed to navigate all this chaos? How do you even operate when all your best work can be wiped out by something you never saw coming? Well, let's try to break that down. Okay, first up, we've got to get our heads around this central tension, what I'm calling the investor's paradox. See, the financial markets are just this wild, chaotic dance of millions of people's decisions, random events, and group psychology. It's like they're built to make fun of our carefully laid plans. And really getting this paradox, is the first step to thinking about all of this in a much better, much more effective way. And this really sums up the two completely different stages of investing. On one side, you've got all the hard work, the diligence, the strategy, the part that makes you feel smart and empowered. But on the other side, it's basically a leap of faith. We're committing our hard-earned money to a future that we absolutely cannot predict, just hoping that things like time and economic growth will be on our side. It's a really humbling moment, and one that I think a lot of us try to just push out of our minds. So this naturally leads us to something I call the strategist's illusion. And this is a mindset that is so common, especially for folks who are just getting started. It's that comforting but also really dangerous belief that if you're just smart enough, if you just have enough information, you can outsmart the market. And this is where you can really see the journey every investor goes on. The beginner, they see themselves as some kind of master strategist. They're glued to the screen, reacting to every little dip and spike, and they think all that frantic activity means they're making progress. But the experienced investor, well, they've probably learned a few lessons the hard way. They've had their most brilliant analysis completely steamrolled by reality. They get that luck plays a huge part, and that, you know what, sometimes you fail, and it's not your fault. It's just the cost of being in the game. And realizing that, that's not a defeat. It's actually incredibly freeing. This brings us to a really critical turning point. It's all about finding wisdom in all this uncertainty. Because accepting that you don't have control, it's not about just giving up. No way. It's about shifting your focus away from all the stuff you can't influence and onto the things that you absolutely 100% can. And this is where it all gets crystal clear. Look, on one side, you've got your world, the stuff you can control. Things like your own discipline, how you pick investments, your diversification, your time horizon, and this one's huge, how you react when everyone else is panicking. But then there's the other side, the world. Global pandemics, disruptive new technologies, what the Fed's gonna do, what the crowd is thinking. It's all just noise you can't control. All your anxiety comes from trying to control that second list. Your peace of mind, that comes from mastering the first one. So, if we're not these all-powerful strategists, then what are we? This is where we get to a really powerful mental shift, a whole new philosophy for investing. It's about seeing yourself not as an architect, but as a gardener. Just think about that difference for a second. An architect, they draw up a perfect, precise blueprint, and they get super frustrated when reality doesn't bend to their will. They demand control. But a gardener is totally different. They know they can't control the weather or the bugs or the changing of the seasons. Their entire skill lies in creating the best possible conditions, good soil, the right amount of water, and then they step back and let things grow. They live and breathe patience and acceptance. That's the mindset of a great long-term investor. And that, right there, is the gardener's secret weapon. Patience has got to be the most underrated virtue in all of investing. We live in a world that is just screaming at us every single second. Do something, react. So having the strength to just tolerate that uncertainty and fight that urge to panic sell or panic buy, that is a legitimate superpower. The market has this funny way of rewarding the people who are just able to sit on their hands. And here's the crazy part. When you finally actually give up that fight for control, you don't feel weak. You feel free. like truly free. But what does that freedom actually look and feel like in the real world? Well, just think about the sheer mental energy you get back. You're suddenly free from having to check your portfolio every 5 minutes. You're free from that emotional roller coaster that comes with every breaking news headline. You get to completely disconnect your self worth from the market's random daily mood swings. And honestly, the best part? You're free to just go live your life, feeling confident that you've done the parts you can control and you've made peace with everything else. And that's the beautiful balance in all of this, isn't it? This isn't about just giving up and saying whatever happens, happens. No, it's about active wisdom. It's about knowing that even though the final outcome is never, ever guaranteed, our choices at the beginning, our prep work, our strategy, our discipline, that's what puts us in the best possible position to succeed. Our power is in making good decisions, not in trying to force a certain result. When you really think about it, this all leads to a much deeper question. We spend all this time and energy worrying about financial risk, about losing money. But what if the biggest risk isn't losing money at all? What if it's losing your peace of mind? Maybe the real journey of investing isn't just about the numbers. Maybe it's an inner journey, an exercise in humility, in patience, in just becoming more emotionally resilient. And maybe, just maybe, the ultimate return on investment isn't just a bigger bank account, but learning how to stay calm and centered even when the world around you is completely uncertain.